What's up, guys? So today we are going to be working denials. So if you are new here, my name is Kat, and I'll put my credentials on the screen. I am a medical coder, and I work the specialties of urology and behavior health. So I have a few denials here for both of those specialties, and we're going to just go ahead and work them. Behavioral health is nothing crazy. I have two denials that came through. This first denial is saying that the place of service was reported on the claim form incorrectly. So I'm just going to go ahead and check that and see if I can change it. The payment was recouped, so we need to probably go ahead and get this out again as a new claim. So to get this corrected, because I work out of Epic, and of course, the claim has already gone out. I'm going to work how I know how to do it. So I will go to view the paper claim so I can see how it looked on paper. And then I want to go and check what place of service we have here. Okay, so I got the paper claim pulled up. So now I'm going to look for box 24 on the claim form. I think it's 24B, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see. Yes, box 24B shows the place of service, and they have the place of service listed as 3, which is school. So what I'm going to do is first send a query to the provider asking the provider to just confirm it. Let me see if I could look at his schedule first, though. So sometimes you can look at the provider's schedule to see where they were at on a certain day. That way, you don't have to bother the provider. But sometimes it doesn't work out that way. I'm not that versed in, in Epic like that to even know. But we're gonna see. Okay, so unfortunately, Epic is not going to allow me to go to where I need to go. It's too far off, and this claim probably is too far away. It's too far out to get paid anyway or to do anything about. So I'm going to send this back to the biller and just ask them, is it still able to be corrected, or is this just something we need to write off? If it's still able to be corrected, then I can go ahead and verify, since I can't view the provider's schedule because of the restrictions in Epic. I'll go ahead and verify with the provider. That way they can go back on their schedule and see if the therapy actually took place in school or inpatient, and just confirm that for me. And if it is in school, then I'll have them to addend the record to reflect that, so that we can go ahead and submit an appeal if we can do that. That's my thought process on how we can get this rectified. But I'm going to bring the biller in and ask the biller what they think, and then we can go from there. So more to come on that one. If I get a response back from the biller. So this last one is telling me that a modifier was needed for, and it wasn't put on this claim. So with Medicaid, for some Medicaid payers, they require a educational or licensure level modifier for behavior health, and Epic has a way that it like auto populates for us, but some of them are missed. Some of them, it just doesn't work right, and I try to catch those, but in the instance where I can't, um, I get denied. So that one is a simple fix. All I have to do is check to see which provider this was and what their education or license level is, and then just append the modifier. And if you don't know about those modifiers, if I can find a good resource, I'll tag them below in the description and put them down there for you guys so that you can take a look at it and see more of what I'm talking about. But it's usually with most of the Medicaid products. So Need a HO modifier on here. So I'm just going to go ahead and just add the modifier, put a note on here that I added the modifier. Okay, those were the only two that I had for behavioral health. That was great. I'm actually quite proud of myself that those were the only two. I'm catching stuff better with them. Like I really been learning from actually doing these videos, what my trends are, and being diligent about making sure that I'm checking the simple things that shouldn't be denied is being denied because I'm just either going too fast or not being as thorough as possible. So now on to urology. Okay. So now we are doing urology, and this first claim denial that I received is saying that the provider is an APRN and this patient also seen another APRN. And it's a different specialty, but this payer does not credential their APRNs under specialty. All the APRNs are under one umbrella. So I need to change this patient from a new patient to an established patient since they've seen an APRN before. So with that, because the insurance company came back and stated that they already have something billed, I will go ahead and accept that and just update the CPT code to an established patient. So this next one is stating that the patient had studies done on the same date of service. So we forgot to put the 25 on the E&M. Patient has studies done same by same provider. Okay. So here's the issue with this. So this particular patient has two accounts, and when the system pulled up the account for the E&M, it did not catch the account for the procedures. So unless I would have pulled the both accounts to see, in which I'm not going to do while I'm coding, I would not have known that it was already billed out. However, had I been looking at the whole entire medical record, like say for instance, whatever date of service I was working on for the E&M, had I looked down or up to see that there was another encounter on the same day, perhaps from the same provider or the same specialty, I could have caught it that way. So that's a good lesson. Like even if it does split on two different accounts, maybe they had two different guarantors and one guarantor pay for, I don't know. I don't know how it gets split up because of the birthday rule. You can't do that. But anyway, it got split up. So, but had I looked at the entire note to see that, okay, there is a second note within this, specialty, let me just check that out. I could have possibly caught this. Okay, so this next one is saying that we built out a procedure during the global. Wants to know if this was a new problem visit or if it should be a post-op visit. So let me just check. Looks like it is a global. So I'm going to go ahead and just correct it to a global, a follow-up visit. Okay, so this next one says that the payer upheld the inclusive denial, saying that it would be unbundling. And this is, if you follow any of my denial videos, this is a known issue with this clinic, and I'm just tracking the trends. I still submit the claim even though I know it's going to get denied. And so what I usually do in this is I asked them to when it initially denied, I asked them to try to appeal because some payers do overturn that. And then once it comes back and tell me that whatever, like they can't, it still stands, then I'll go ahead and just let them know that they can accept the appeal. So this next one is telling me that there is some unbundling being done. Okay, so it looks like this patient had a surgery done on the same day of a inpatient stay. So I'm going to look to see if either we need a modifier or if we just need to not bill the inpatient stay, the E&M for the inpatient stay. So how I kind of figure that out is I see if the surgery was already scheduled or was the surgery kind of recommended or the decision for surgery was made like right then and there. If it's a known problem that the patient is already, checking out in the hospital for, or if it's something that like came up, like just the circumstances behind it. Because if you know your coding guidelines, you can't bill out a office visit and a procedure on the same day, because the procedure has the office visit component. The pre workup and the post workup is already encompassed in the procedure code. So unless there was something else, a new problem, or you really, if it was a new problem and they had to make the decision for surgery that day because they didn't know, then that could be a reason why. That visit actually should not be billed because it was their follow-up. This one actually is going to be tricky because he kept coming in. The patient was in for something else and he kept coming in to check. I need to ask about this one. I'm going to put that one on hold because to me it would seem like maybe all of those visits then will fall under the global, because if the patient came in for whatever a problem visit, they ended up keeping the patient. Let me know in the comments what you think about this situation. The patient came in, they ended up admitting the patient. The next day, the patient ended up having surgery. The provider billed for the surgery, the visit the first day. So the patient came in this day. This day, the patient decides to have surgery, and the doctor seen the patient on this day. So the doctor billed an inpatient stay for this day, an inpatient and the surgery for this day, and an inpatient stay for this day. Both of these are E&Ms. This was an E&M and a surgery. So my thought process is, because this one is probably okay with a modifier, either 25 or 57, because it was a decision for surgery. It probably wasn't made beforehand. The patient came in, looked like through the ED, and they decided to admit the patient. And so this one is cool. The surgery is cool, but the E&M I don't think is cool. And the E&M for this day, I don't think is cool. I think these should be, those two E&M visits should be post-op visits. And this one should get either 57 or 25, depending on if it was a major or minor surgery. So that's what I'm thinking. Let me know what you're thinking. I want to do that off camera because I want to sit with that for a minute.
I needed to put a correction in here. Modifier 25 is for any services given on the same day as the procedure, and 57 would be the most appropriate one because this procedure happened the day after the E&M visit. So modifier 57 should be the right one.
Okay, so this next one is saying another global. Let's see what this is hitting up against, because this one does need a modifier. So in this case, the patient, it was split. One of these instances where it was split. And I couldn't see the other one, but had I looked at the note, had I been more thorough, I probably could have caught it, but I don't know because it was housed in two different areas. But anyway, this patient came in day before, they decided to do surgery, and the next day the patient had the surgery, and the E&M got denied. So I am going to put a modifier on the E&M because the decision, because it wasn't a pre-planned surgery. And I put a modifier 57 because that was a major surgery. It had a global of 90 days. Now, I've heard so many different situations that just because it has a 90-day global doesn't mean that it's a major surgery. But everything that I read in the MLN says that 90 days is a major surgery. So, have you heard of anything like that? Like, just because it's a 90-day doesn't mean that it's a major surgery. I'm curious. I want to know, like, what are your thoughts on that? Okay, so this next one is just telling me that I was just going too fast and I had an excludes diagnosis, excludes one, and I built out two of the same diagnosis, or the diagnosis that had the exclude. So that's an easy fix. So I'm just gonna go in and just delete diagnosis code that shouldn't be there. The second one is the same exact thing. I build out and excludes. So because I got two of them back to back, I know that that is the issue. All right, so this next one is this saying that this patient is not new and we need to change it to an established patient. And so usually Epic has a edit that catches those, because since our providers see patients in different areas, different clinics, um, sometimes they'll still drop a new patient code even though they saw the patient before, or someone in their practice or their specialty saw the patient before. They'll still drop a new code. So, I mean, a new patient code. So, usually Epic catches it, but sometimes it doesn't. Okay, so this next one says the claim was sent to the primary with the POS 11. When the claim was sent to the secondary, it said 22. Which POS is correct? When I have that information, I will be able to decide to do what's next. Why did it do that? That's crazy. I have no idea why it did that. I don't even touch the claim after it goes out. So let me see if I could figure out. Okay, so the correct place of service for this one is 22. So I'm gonna go ahead and just let the biller know. Should let the biller know that it should be place of service 22 and wait for them to tell me what I need to do on my end. So this next one is an excludes diagnosis denial. So I just need to go and delete the the diagnosis that has the excludes one rule. All right, and my last denial is incident two denial. The claim is stating that basically is unbundling. And I just want to make sure my modifier is on here. Is that known issue that our providers perform a procedure that can be considered inclusive. It can be considered inclusive, but some payers acknowledge that and pay, and some payers don't. But we have a policy that we submit them to all payers, and then the ones that deny, I guess we write off, and the ones that don't, we go ahead and let it ride. All right, we are done with denials. So what I've learned is that this time around, I had way too many excludes one notes, which was unnecessary, uncalled for. I have to be more cautious about that. I need to try to figure out how I could check to see, be more diligent about established patients. I don't know how I can rectify that because of the way the claims split in the system sometimes. I don't even know if that's something that is in my scope of work, or if it's just something I have to, like, we got to figure it out. So I'm going to talk to my supervisor about that and see if she can help me figure out why I'm missing those, or if there's something that can be done for those. Other than that, I just had a few ones that probably were I couldn't control, like the place of service switching over when it went to secondary. I couldn't have controlled that. And the accepting the denial for the procedures that our providers do. So in this specialty, our provider performs a procedure because they learned at a conference, or they learned somewhere. I assume at a conference, but it could be somewhere else. That a lot of other urologists was also performing this same procedure and was possibly getting paid for it. So they brought that practice back to us. And in our area, apparently, or with some payers, they don't pay for both of those procedures. But again, we don't keep tabs of which ones pay for in the coding world. I don't know on the billing side they may, but in the coding side, I don't keep tabs of which one has paid. I don't have enough, I guess, stats on that yet because I'm still fairly new to coding urology. So maybe down the line I had asked for a spreadsheet, a report to let me know that information. I'm still waiting on them to give me that information. But once I get that information, at least I'll know better so I can going forth, I can know, well, if I have UHC, I shouldn't bill this. If I have Blue Cross, it's okay to bill this, or whatever the case may be. But anyway, that denial, I can't control that. I just have to let it ride, allow the doctors to get their work RVUs and just ask them to write it off. So that's really it. Yeah. If you have any questions, I did ask a couple questions during the video, like one about the how would you code the post-op and the pre-op visits, because I was curious about that. And I think I asked another question. I can't remember right now. But anyway, if you have an answer to those questions or thoughts or comments, leave them in the comments below. If you have any questions, any concerns, let me know. And any ideas for videos, because I'll be struggling trying to figure out what to make a video about. But I'm going to try to go ahead and, get some more content out here for you guys. Yeah. So I might do a business update video. If y'all interested in knowing how the business is going, how the billing business is going, drop that in the comments too, and just let me know its interest about that. And then if so, I'll go ahead and make a video about it. So until the next video, y'all take care.